Hello everybody. So yeah, it's Corinne again. I've intended to film this from the beginning. However, when I got in the zone, I completely forgot about filming. However, I've already flipped my cups over the canvas, as you can see. So I'll take you on the rest of the journey. Wish me luck. I like what's going on here. Wow. Isn't it funny how much color can just bring you joy right away? Alright, let's do... I think I want to do this one next. Bring it up like this. Oh, yeah. Where did that come from? Okay, I'll just keep doing that. See my colors? It's so beautiful. Okay, what next? This one. Let's see if I can do it backwards. That's so pretty. Okay, let's just settle. I hope it doesn't come out too dark. Okay, I wanted to do a predominantly blue and green pour today. However, I didn't have enough blues. That's what you get for not planning ahead. Let's do this one. Okay, let's do an arm twist. Arm twist. Okay, so let's go this way.
So nice going on up here. It is very quiet.
I'm filming, so come in, but be nice. Come in, darling.
Hang on.
He always just comes and stands in the doorway and just looks in like there's some force field keeping him there. Yes.
I don't want to mess
Do
up
what?
where you are.
Come in and stand over there so you can see the last one being tipped out. I know
Wow.
how it
Beautiful
freaks
colours.
you out.
Beautiful colours. I like those.
Like I was telling them, I wanted to do a predominantly green and blue picture. However, I found that I did not have enough varieties of blue, but I did have greens.
It's lovely. I love the colours.
So I'm going to like go. I'll try to go this way.
Wow. You need a steady hand for that, don't you?
Well, you just have to know what direction you want to go to. I realize now that the trick is to keep your, well, one of the tricks is to keep the cup kind of low when you do your swirlies.
Okay.
Yeah. Could you grab my torch for me, please?
Of course I can.
Thank you. Let me just wipe my hands off before I add more paint to the torch. Not like anybody will notice because it's already loaded with paint. Thank you. Let's watch it. See what's gonna happen. Give it a little torch. Just light. Oh, that one popped on its own. Like, I don't want to be torched today. I hope I didn't create a caterpillar there.
No, I don't think so.
Wow. And you know, I wanted to do a brown and blue for the longest while. I just love brown and blue together.
You have got some blue in there. That's nice.
Yeah, I tried pairing them together in the cup a lot.
Wow, there's lots of mixing. You did.
Yeah. Well, I mixed about 4 of them while you were asleep. Remember I told you
8 different colours.
I came, yeah? I thought more variety probably make for a more beautiful and interesting painting.
Is that a black or a dark blue?
It's called Payne's Grey. It's a,
Okay.
I think it's a dark blue.
Yeah.
So I wanted to use something that would appear black, but not too stark. You know, something that will do the, do the function of black in this color combination without it being black. Yeah. You look at this ribbon.
Beautiful.
Let's see. Give it a little more torching.
Right, I'll leave you to it. It looks fantastic. Looking forward to seeing the end result.
You're still watching the program?
Yes, I am. Q2.
Okay. See you later.
See you later.
If anybody is watching, feel free to fast forward because I'm trying to be very deliberate and careful with this one. At this point, I'm just trying to let the paints just interact and see, give it a chance to rest, mingle, and bubbles come up instead of rushing it. Well, I don't always rush it, it's just that today I just want to make sure and give it every chance possible to do something beautiful. So feel free to fast forward if this is boring for you. But I could see some little cells developing. Hopefully I get some nice variety in the cells. What I'm going to do now is move the paint around slightly, a little bit, and then rest again. I'm going to bring it this way. Hopefully I made enough paint today that so that I would not have to stretch the paint out too much, because I think I'm usually guilty of that. Not making enough paint and then finding myself looking down at some beautiful cells that I have to eventually stretch out, and they get all deformed and and I lose the beautiful cells. So now I've moved it, I'm going to let it rest again. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you the last one I did. I want to do a little show and tell today. Hopefully, what I'm going to do is take my gloves off. I don't want to risk putting this paint on another canvas, because I'm aiming for neater frames and stuff. This is the last one I did. I'm very pleased with it. It kind of looks, reminds me of a rocky beach. In St. Lucia, where I'm from, we have some beautiful beaches, and the island is surrounded by two bodies of water. On the west, it's 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 washed by the Caribbean Sea, and on the east is the Atlantic Ocean, and that's really choppy. And this is what this one reminds me of, the Atlantic Ocean. Not the Atlantic Ocean, but the side. There's a beach near Pigeon Island where you just sit on the rocks and the water just splashes up on those rocks. So that's what that is about. Hopefully I didn't pull this away too quickly, to give you vertigo. This is another one I did, very large. Probably won't be able to stay in the frame because it's so large. It's a 70 centimeter diameter round. I was trying the cloud effect on this. It wasn't as successful as I intended, but for what it is, I like it. I have quite a few others. This is another experiment I was trying. It ends up looking like purple seaweed. Yeah. I don't know what you're seeing because I'm stunning to the side. I don't have a monitor to see what I'm showing you. And in the same color palette, I also tried something else. I did this. And to me, it looks like a woman bathing. I showed it to several people and they all saw the same thing without me prompting them. So I call it bath time. I shouldn't have another canvas on top of it. Put this stand on its side here. Yeah, I have quite a few others and I'll show you hopefully some other time. Yeah, I also did this. It's one of my favorites. It's kind of weird, but a lot of color. But I'm not used to using all the bright color in my art. But I'm really pleased with this one. I was trying other ribbons. I got fascinated with ribbons while watching Anne-Marie Riderhoff, I think. I hope I'm not butchering her name. But I love watching her videos. She's so informative. I think she's one of the best on YouTube, in my opinion. So, if you are watching one day, shout out to you. Anne-Marie, I've learned a lot from you about mixing paints. I painstakingly took my time last night to mix my paints and try to go all zen, like you always say. And it was quite interesting, the pleasure you can get from not rushing it. When you give yourself time to mix your paints carefully and give yourself time to create, then you can really enjoy it for all the pleasure that it can bring you. So yes, thank you, Anne-Marie. There are some others that I like, some other pouring artists. Julie Cuts, I think she's from Australia. I love her. She sounds like a lovely lady, and I admire her love for animals. I love how patient she is with Scruffy, her bird. Well, one of her many birds. And there's another lady that I really like, Karen from Waterfall Acrylics. She is I mean, she always said, oh, people say she talks too much, but I love the talking. I spend a lot of time alone, and when I'm doing stuff like doing mundane housework, I listen. And sometimes when I'm painting, I watch her. While I was mixing my paints last night, I had her on. I was watching her different videos, and she's such a lovely lady. I don't know if it's a natural thing for artists. They just tend to be lovely people, and it's a beautiful community out there. All these creatives. I feel like I know them, although I know I don't. But yeah, it's good to have them sharing their knowledge out there. Oh my gosh. I mean, this making those different designs. Um, I decided to try them out between watching Anne Marie. Anne Marie loves Anne Marie Riderhoff. Um, Hopefully, I'm saying her name correctly. She loves ribbons, and I tried ribbons a couple of times, and I find they add that dimension to paintings, and it's amazing how it can take a painting from blah boring, just everyday, to something amazing by just adding those ribbons on top. And Karen also does her swirly application of paints, which I think are absolutely great, especially when she thinks the painting is going to turn out boring, and she just dumps a full cup of paint over it. So fearless. I think it's amazing just watching these artists do their thing, and the distinct, unique styles. I just realized I have not put my apron on, as usual, forgetting things, but I tend not to get paint all over me. And I'm hoping this is not famous last words she says just before she gets paint on her jumper. I think this one already has paint on. It's not one of my favorite jumpers. I hope my husband is not watching this. Not that he got me the jumper or anything, but he'll say, "Oh, you'll have your apron right there. Why don't you just put it on?" Now, doing all this talking, I'm not concentrating, but I think it's going okay. Don't you? Okay, I'm trying to bring the weight of the paint back. Stop. Oh, I also got the idea to use puppy pillow pads from Julie Cuts. I've used so many of these plastic. I'll show you. I started getting, well, I've gotten them quite a few times, these rolls of plastic. They're like semi-opaque, semi-transparent. They're thick, and I thought it would be a good idea to get them because I thought at some point, I would use them and then scrape when the paint dries off, scrape it off, peel it off, and then reuse them. So then, yeah. So I'll put it, in the same category as those things you always intend to do that you never quite get around to doing. because I find that when I'm inspired to paint, I'm not going to want to grab a sheet of plastic and start peeling paint off, or especially if I'm filming, I don't want to use a very dirty surface. And also, the most planning I do, I must confess, I'm going to stop and let the paint settle and then take this tape off. I didn't mess it up because I tried taping the bottom of this carefully so I wouldn't get paint. I'm beginning to think I repeated this swirl a little too often. It's kind of looking like a pattern. Hopefully it's not. I have paint all over. Hopefully I can wipe it off. I don't want to use another pair. Well, there I was planning on doing a green and blue painting. I ended up with a green and brown? Green, brown. Yes, there's some blue in it. I used a bit of Payne's Grey, Phthalo Blue, a mixture of greens to make it a darker green, because I tried to use two of each color. Let me go around and have the edges before I do any more tilting. I see some massive bubbles that I need to get to. Good, pay attention to. Just trying to get this corner. Yes, I've taped my sides up to a point so the paint wouldn't have too far to travel down. Let's just coax the paint down. I think my paint's a bit thick today, but I didn't want to run the risk of making it so thin that the cells don't hold their shape. So it's the balancing act of striking that balance between thin enough, the consistency thin enough to pour it and move it around, and not making it so thin that the cells don't hold their shape. So I'm going to move it a bit. Try to bring, I have some lovely lacing going on here. I found that sometimes I go excitedly pointing and then my gloves are dripping with paint, and I end up with a big drop of paint in the middle of the painting that I can't do anything about. So yeah, I have some lacing here. Maybe I can bring it up. Be brave today and bring it up. Show you. If you can see the lacing here, that brown lacing over some green, and some other, I think that's the Payne's Grey doing something over there, and I have to bring it back down. Oh yeah, some other brown lacing here again. That's beautiful. Today I don't want to stretch it too much, like I said. Bring it back slowly. Oh. So while you're doing this, you have to pay attention to composition, cell shape. What else? Make sure Okay, and making sure that you don't have too much paint on the canvas. Don't know what I'm doing now. Get it stretched. You do it slowly. I think the trick. Oh, I need to do a bit of torching to put some bubbles. Let me try to put some bubbles without relying on torching. Let me use my little, what is it called, a stylus? I'm going to use two things today, two different tools. A pin. Well, it's not popping. Okay, here. Let me use this to pop the bigger one. See if I can live with the smaller ones. So, oh, there's a caterpillar here. Okay, what I'll do is use my torch. Use my torch. Nice get off, huh? Yeah, it's good to be careful. Ooh. Just testing the heat. See how close I can get without. Oh, I'm running out. I'm running out of gas. I don't know what it's called. Butane. Not gas. Dodo. This is the one I use. I just ordered it off Amazon. Just place it here for now, and let's see what it's doing. Open it back up. Keep it quite high because all I want is the heat to burst the bubbles. Sometimes I find I have to stab the bubbles with my flame because they just want to stick around. No bubbles. We don't need bubbles in this. This is not that kind of party. Not that kind of party. Let's go. Let me look from the side to see if there's any large offenders. Again, I'm starting to obsess with single. Okay, let me see if I can. I don't like this too much. Let me see if I can bring the paint down and pour it off. That might be dangerous. Hopefully the paint has not set yet. I'm just tilting it slightly. So I used quite a few things in my paints today. Oh, I mixed them last night, trying to be all organized. Um, yeah, so last night I mixed my paint by putting some paint in the cup first, then adding Liquitex pouring medium, just like Anne-Marie said to do. Well, one of her mixing techniques. You mix the Liquitex pouring medium in first. Get that nice and creamy. And then once you've done that, you add water, a little at a time. So I use my spray bottle, and I spray that in, mix, because you don't want to add too much water all at once. See that blue patch that I didn't like is going off the canvas. When it gets to the side, I will stop and bring my paint back. I even want that corner to go. Okay, good. And just bring it up ever so slightly. Because while trying to get rid of a part of a painting that you don't like, you could very well lose something that you absolutely love. So one has to be careful how far one pushes the painting. You know what I'm saying? James? I'm trying to get my husband to, well, I don't want to shout. I want him to come and basically to tell me it's alright and step away from the canvas. That's what I think I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get rid of that stretched look up there. Oh yes, I was telling you about how I mix my paint. Got distracted. Maybe if I turn it, I'll see it from a different angle and do something different. Ooh. Careful. Is it too busy, do you think? There's no focal point, is there? Should I add a ribbon on over top?